Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Quick Strike. As always, my name is Jake Ricker, alongside my co-host Michael Wax. Michael, unfortunately, we're going to be talking about a loss today as the Tampa Bay Lightning fall to the Florida Panthers by a score of 6-4. This was a tough one, Michael. How you doing today?
It was a really tough one. I'm doing fine. We talked about it privately, what we thought the Lightning did well, what we thought they didn't. We would love to hear from you guys in the comments down below what you thought about this game. I know probably the majority of the comments are going to be negative because this was not a great game for the Lightning, but make sure to comment down below. We will respond to you and we'll talk about the game as it was. But Jake, overall, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, and any all thoughts are obviously appreciated. I know we got some Panthers fans. I like to jump in here every once in a while and watch our videos too, which we absolutely appreciate. So, but yeah, this was tough. So let's talk about the negatives first. Let's get that out of the way. There are a lot from this game, but the big theme for this one from the Bolts, Michael, was the defense. I mean, the defense was just about all around absolutely terrible, with the exception of Victor Hedman and Ryan McDonough. But those guys are basically perfect almost every single night. So you can't, it's no surprise there. But, you know, Cernak, Sergachev, Ruda, all those guys had a lot of really bad turnovers that cost the Bolts multiple times on goals. Listen, we'll get to Curtis McElhinney, who did not have a good game, but the Bolts defense was not doing him any favors by far.
Oh, they were absolutely awful tonight. There was the worst performance of the season, and I wouldn't leave it all to just the defenders themselves and them playing defense. The forwards in their back checking were absolutely atrocious. There were multiple breakaways, multiple 2-on-1s that the Panthers were able to capitalize on because none of the forwards were able to get back in time, and the defenders were kind of left in limbo. Now that being said, the defense or the defenders themselves atrocious. They were absolutely awful. Like Victor Hedman saved 2 goals tonight. Ryan McDonough, I believe, saved 1 goal tonight. But other than that, they were not communicating with each other. That's the main thing that the Lightning are so good at. No matter how good or bad the team is, no matter how you know talented they are in terms of the product they put on the ice, the communication is always there, and that's why they've been so successful over the years. And there was just none of that. There was multiple players going after one guy. There was sliding on a 2-on-1 to prevent the shot when you should have prevented the pass. There was absolutely no back check when it came to helping out Curtis McElhinney, who we will talk about later was not good tonight. It was just, it seemed like nothing went right for specifically the bottom 4 defensemen on the team.
I hope this means we're going to get to see Cal Foote get back into the lineup now. And Michael, I know you're a big advocate of that. Obviously, that won't fix all of our problems right now. And don't get me wrong, this was a bad game. We'll get to this a little bit later on too as well. But this isn't the end of the world. Obviously, this was a tough game, and the Bolts are going to have to readjust. But things will be fine. There's no reason to panic as of right now. But hopefully, I think Foote deserves another opportunity to get back in that lineup and shake things up, and hopefully we can start to get things back on track. But let's talk about Curtis McElhinney, which, tough night, very, very tough night. And to be fair, I like to try to look at the positive side and everything. It's only his second game that he's played in a very, very long time. This was the rust we were expecting to see from McElhinney in that first game that he played. And they mentioned this on the broadcast, in that first game against when McElhinney played, the defense played well in front of him, which made his job a lot easier. And tonight, when the defense didn't play well, his rust really, really started to show. Stamkos had scored a goal to give the Bolts an early 1-0 lead. And I know Panthers fans, yes, that one looked like it didn't go in, but hey, we'll take it. It didn't end up mattering at the end of the day. But then McElhinney goes out, tries to play the puck, and it gets taken away from him. I think it took a weird bounce, actually, and a Panthers player beat it to him, threw it right in front of the net, and they have an easy goal to tie that game to 1-1. And that's a huge momentum changer right there. And Michael, I'm making a new rule right now. I don't know what it is with Bolts goalies and playing the puck, but they just got to stop doing that because they do not have good luck when they go and do that.
Yeah, I would sign on to that petition immediately because we've had our snake bitten moments with goalies playing the puck. behind the goal or wherever on the ice, both with Ben Bishop, Andre Vasilevsky, and now with Curtis McElhaney. So when that play happened, I'm like, you know what? It's a freak play. The goals kind of cancel each other out. One of them really shouldn't have counted. The other one was just a freak accident that probably wouldn't have happened if the puck had actually rolled the right way or McElhaney had stayed in the net. Cancel them out. And as the goals kept on increasing, I kept on looking back in the play and going, yeah, the defense was bad, but you got to get a save eventually. And there were some of them where McElhaney was just so far out of position. And I understand that's his game. His game is basically just to flop around like a fish and he'll make the save. Well, tonight you saw him not making the saves, and he just looked like an idiot out there. And full respect to Curtis McElhaney. He played amazing against Nashville. He had that amazing blocker save where he was doing the same thing. He was flopping around in net, and he ended up getting his blocker on the puck. But today just didn't happen. He made a couple of nice saves when the game was already out of reach, but it was a really bad game for McElhaney.
I think a perfect example of when you talk about being out of position was on the wraparound goal that the Florida Panthers had. McElhaney was way outside of the net, and now having to just go off, a couple feet to get the other side of the net, he had to go, 6 feet to get. That's obviously a huge exaggeration, but the point being is he had a lot more ground to cover at that point because he was so far out of position. And I think it was McDonough or Hedman, I can't remember who that was defending that play, made the right play and forced the Panthers player to go around the net. So, if you're sitting on the edge of the post, you can then just push off the post, try to reach your pad around. So many different things can happen. That was a mistake that McElhaney made. So not a great game for McElhaney, not a great game for the defense. But Michael, as we always say, there's always negatives in the fantastic games, and there's always positives in the really bad games. So let's talk about a couple of those positives. I think one of the first ones too, even though there wasn't too much of it, penalty kill continued to look really good for the Bolts tonight. I've been really they've been playing the Florida Panthers, who had the best power play in the league coming into this series, and they have completely shut them down.
Yeah, the penalty kill has been wonderful, and the good news was for the Lightning, like you mentioned, there wasn't that much of the penalty kill, which we have not said in a long time. They went 0 for 3. The Panthers did on the power play, and we only took 3 penalties, which is something that you always like to see. You like to keep it around the 2 to 3 range, so 3 is an all right number by most fans' standards. And yeah, they were fantastic. The penalty kill was amazing. My favorite thing that I was able to put online today was twofold thing. Number one, stop taking penalties, which at the time it looked like they were on pace to take about 20. And two, the Coleman and Goudreau grouping of the penalty kill forwards is my favorite on the Lightning because they generate chances like it's a power play. They are an unbelievable tandem when it comes to being able to generate chances, especially shorthanded. They're great on their own line as well with Yanni Gord. And I thought everyone else did a really solid job. The defenders did what they needed to. Alex Killorn, Matthew Joseph, Yanni Gord were also on the power play or on the penalty kill, excuse me. A really solid job by a group that has been really, really tired recently and needed to take less penalties with the absence of Anthony Sorelli.
Always good to see that they are improving in the areas where that's the one thing too, right? About the Bulls is every time we've seen them have an issue, they tend to fix that issue in the very next game. Now, sometimes other ones end up popping up and the Bolts aren't able to win the game. But for the most part, when we see these issues, the Bolts do find ways to fix them. Let's talk about Alexander Volkov, who continues to shine right now. He scored his first NHL goal of his career in the last game against the Florida Panthers, and today had two more goals. He has got some confidence boost right now and is playing very well.
He's playing outstanding these past 2 games. He's was the most notable forward on the ice, I think, the entire game. Like, but from either side, and I understand that a lot of Panthers players had fantastic games, like Jonathan Huberdeau, Alexander Barkov, Anthony Duclair. But Volkov was a guy to me that really jumped out on the page. Like, wow, he's been fantastic today. Like, he's been great. That entire fourth line, I think, deserves a shout out. Patrick Maroon, Jamel Smith, and Alexander Volkov. Not a ton is really expected from them, I think, every single night, and they over delivered. Pat Maroon, we thought had the second Volkov goal. Jamel Smith was all over the ice. It was a really, really solid performance from that line in being able to stay pretty relatively positive during a negative game.
They were great. There's no question about that. And the last little positive that I'll mention here is that the Lightning did a very good job in that second half of that second period at coming alive. They played really well in that later part of the second period. They pulled within one by the time we were heading into the final 20 minutes, and there was a glimmer of hope there for a minute that the Bolts might be able to come back and tie this game, potentially win it. Unfortunately, it was too little, too late. But they did play really well. And we saw that against the Panthers, right? Last time the Panthers beat us pretty bad, and the Lightning just played a really good third period. They took that momentum, came into the next game, and won the game. And they kind of did something similar here. The third period wasn't as good as the last time around, but they did have a much positive or much better end to the game than they did at the start. But Michael, before we wrap this up, do you have anything else to add to this?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I'm very happy with the face-off numbers. The face-off numbers before in the game before and in many games before were abysmal. And tonight the Lightning were actually 55% in the face-off dot, which I don't know if you'd attribute that to score effects, but this is a game where, and Coach Cooper and Pat Maroon said it best in the post game, they should have won. And some of that comes down to team defense. Some of that comes down to Curtis McElhinney. I think he's going to take full responsibility. But all around, the Panthers were not the best team in the world like they were when they played the first time on Thursday. They were obviously the better team on Thursday. I thought this was a much more even keel game, and the Lightning just fell on the wrong side of it. And because they made so many mistakes, and the Panthers were able to capitalize.
And I think here's the most important thing to take out of this game. This is the only third regulation loss for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They currently stand at 10-3-1, which is a fantastic start to this season. They're still in first place in the division. They're up there in the league standings as well because they've actually still haven't played as many games as some other teams. And listen, Michael, it could be a lot worse. You could be the Toronto Maple Leafs, who blew a 5-1 lead and ended up losing in overtime, which was not pretty. But the Lightning will have a couple of days off now as they're going to be headed to Dallas. Hopefully, they will be able to play those games as Dallas's games just got postponed due to the storm and the weather that's going on over there in Texas. So hopefully, everybody's okay over there and staying safe, and we can get back to playing hockey very soon. But we will keep you updated on that situation. But the next game should be on Thursday against the Dallas Stars. And listen, we know the Lightning are very good when bouncing back from a loss. So hopefully, they can take these days off, make some adjustments, and come back even stronger and continue their great start to this season so far. So with that said, that's going to do it for us, guys, in today's episode. Be sure to like this video if you did enjoy it. That lets us know you want to see more content just like this. Be sure to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss out on future videos coming soon. We got one coming out tomorrow where we'll be checking out talking about Andre Palat, who's had such a fantastic start to the season. So make sure you don't miss that one. But with that said, guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, your Tampa Bay Lightning are your defending Stanley Cup champions.